What's going on? Need to show this again. Ooh, it didn't pop up very quick, did it? Look, it ain't even showing up. Whoa. Screen on whited out. There you go. Want to get a look at this right here. And dude, this is not a provocateur type of a thing. Because in my understanding, from as it would appear to me, that this applied to them maybe in that era, but in our era, it would seem this is what's going on with this all. It says that it concludes that it's a hoax. Wow. That was not what I expected. Let's see. Willie Lynch audio letter. Nice. This is pretty bad. Look, you are free to go back through this here, but I can't read it all because it'd take too long. So I'm gonna try to pick out some points. Oh, look at that. Obama come popping up in the middle here. It's like, get away, old Willie. Get away, old Willie Lynch. Oh, shoot, dude. I mean, this thing is not really even that long, neither, dude. It's pretty quick, cut and dry. In a way, too. Gentlemen, and what's weird too, I just read this book, The Serpent and the Rainbow, and there's a lot of like backdrop political stuff to do with this same type of intel right here. Anyway, and listen to this. I love how he name drops King James right in this letter. No wonder so many people distrust it. I mean, listen, everything has a dual history, man. It just depends who's telling you the history, I guess. Right here, man. I mean, look, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as for crosses for standing human bodies along its highways in great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasions. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings. Look, I'm going to pause real quick. I just told my brother Dale the other night, brother from another down in Florida. I said, dude, you know, the reason why it's illegal for me to just go off and punch you in the face, it's not because they're stopping me for doing what's wrong or they're protecting what's right. It's the fact that if I fucking break your jaw and you don't get to go to work and generate those taxes and your life falls apart, just like it says right here, you're not only losing valuable stock by hangings or Chris punching this guy, you are having uprisings, and then other slaves are getting ideas. Anyway, the slaves are running away. Your crops are sometime left in the fields too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires. Your animals are killed. Right here, gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I'm not here, and this is the predecessor to eugenics, continuity programs, Stuff like that. Fear of uprisings. Freaking, it goes way back, dude. Anyway, I have a foolproof method for controlling your slaves. Look, in this one, instead of, listen, to update this, listen, replace the word, the racial word there with just slaves, okay? Because here's one of the things that I realized in my research, in my life experiences, my empirical understanding, is that Native Americans were Willie lynched just as bad as the slaves mentioned here. And even now, like, you could have American born Mexican families, and if they have straight up Mexico family members, they don't really get along, and they're racist towards one another in a way. Freaking, and even now, even in your own, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, your neighbor may be in secret competition with you, and it seems that, according to this letter here, that it's a freaking program, okay? So, see, and here's the thing. When was this made? It will control the slaves for at least 300 years. So that's all this guy, this Machiavellian type Willie Lynch here could guarantee. And it seems like we're up. And this is when Albert Pike WW3 letter starts to take place. It seems like this been in the works for a long time. Here it goes anyway. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. And I mean, dude, this is all the music. It's all about fear, distrust, and envy, and for control purposes, with some uh, other rewards and punishments, so to speak. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South, or the North, or the West Coast, or the East Coast, or in olden times or modern times. Take this simple list of differences and think about them. On the top of my list is age, but there's only because it starts with a second, that is color or shade. There's an intelligence, size, sex, sizes of plantations, status on plantations. Look, it's either the plantation, the reservation, or the concentration. There's a reason why I kind of talk like that. Anyway, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley, on the hill, east or the west or the north or the south, have fine hair, coarse hair, as tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you the outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy, and stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands, a 1,000-year Reich. Maybe we can get that 1,000-year Reich a few years out of here. Don't forget, you must pitch the old male versus the young male, the young male against the old male. I mean, wait, didn't that just say the... Okay, it just said it, and then in reverse, the inverse, the old satanic flip-flop mirror image thing is going on here. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. This is important right here, especially when it comes to narcissistic abuse and narcissistic relationships. This is the program. This is the parasite. It's very old. It was used in nation versus nation, empire versus empire, sexual dominance for thousands of years. Anyway, you must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have servants and overseers who distrust all other slaves. But it's necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us, only Big Brother, only the ministry of truth. Only then, gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Look, this dude is a wizard. I mean, they are just blatantly out there with their control, like intentionalities. Anyway, use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Never, keep reinventing this Willie Lynch program. If used intensively for 1 year, them slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's make a slave. Wow. This is another good note right here. It said, it was interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature and the slave nature in particular with the view to practical results. And I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. Anyway, yeah, I could keep going on here, but um I mean, let me see. Um yeah, anyway, man, that's some heavy freaking subject matter here. And listen, man, listen. It's not a it's a humanity issue, dude. It's not a racist issue because ultimately this outlines that it's an interracial violence that is keeping the other outsiders in power over the population. So ultimately it's not the outsider who's the only enemy. It's the conditioning and the programs and the conditioning and the stumbling blocks. Literally, those are excellent examples of stumbling blocks set up before you to keep you dependent and institutionalized. And look, literally, they've outright stated they wanted to institutionalize everybody since the 1700s. They practice on that population of slaves to learn the perfect experimental way to get all of us to become slaves, but we would think we were free, but we were to even be set free, but their conditioning is so intact that our very own people will punish us and do what needs to be done to keep us either in line or to make our life so miserable that we meet an unfortunate and early end. You know what I'm talking about?